In the previous video, we explored how time and space influence inhabitants of different planetary systems in different ways, and how both time and space can be contracted or stretched by the manipulation of the physical laws. In the second part, we are going to explore the subject from two different sides: how Krishna, as a supreme personality of Godhead, is able to manipulate space, time, and physical laws, and how the same laws can be manipulated by ordinary mortals, like yogis and ascetics. Let's start with Krishna. As he mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Kalos me, time I am. Time is one of his energies, and just as all other energies, time is completely under his control. In his pastimes, we can find many instances where he manipulates time and space. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that when the gopis came to him at night, attracted by the sound of his flute, desirous of dancing with him, Krishna made the night extend for the equivalent of a whole day of Brahma, a total of 4.3 billion years. Conversely, when he assumes the gigantic form of Mahavishnu with the purpose of creating the material universes, he makes the whole period of the life of Brahma as short as a breath for him. To properly appreciate that, it's worth mentioning that this is a period of time equivalent to 311.04 trillion years of our time. He can also manipulate the physical laws at will, like when he lifted the Govardhana hill, nullifying the law of gravity. In this pastime, he lifted a huge mountain using just his small finger, using it as an umbrella to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the rain. Normally, it's not possible for someone to lift a mountain. Even if he would be sufficiently strong to do that, the mountain would crumble under its own weight. But by nullifying the law of gravity, Krishna could do that in the most elegant way. Not only can he manipulate time and physical laws, but he can also manipulate space. For example, when Krishna was present on this planet, he manifested the whole Vrindavan, the whole spiritual sky inside the boundaries of the earthly Vrindavan, that have a circumference of a few dozen miles. It's difficult for us to understand how an infinite space can fit into a finite space, but by Krishna's will it became possible. As he says in the Gita, Pasyame Yogam Ashvaram, behold my mystic opulence. Similarly, the city of Dwaraka, created by Krishna in the midst of the ocean to shelter the Yadu dynasty, was a manifestation of the Dwaraka in the spiritual sky. Just as in the case of Vrindavan, an unlimited space with trillions of inhabitants living in palaces was manifested inside the boundaries of a certain geographical location of our planet. Both Dwaraka and Vrindavan worked as kind of spiritual portals, where the material and spiritual spheres came in touch. From the outside, one could see the material Vrindavan that had a limited circumference, but as soon as one entered the area, he would have access to the unlimited spiritual sky. Even nowadays, this connection remains, and people who are advanced spiritually are able to see the spiritual reality when they enter Vrindavan. Krishna's bending of space was also shown in the pastime of Brahma stealing the calves, described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. At a certain point, he summoned all Brahmas of all material universes. Every Brahma was present in his own universe, just like our Brahma was situated in our universe. And in the Vedic literature, we get the information that the different material universes are trillions of miles apart. Still, all the Brahmas were put together in the same place by Krishna's mystic potency. Another example is Krishna showing the whole universe inside his mouth to Mother Yasoda. To a mundane observer, Krishna was situated in our planet that is part of a particular material universe. If Krishna was situated inside one particular universe, how could the whole cosmos be situated in his mouth? It's described that Mother Yasoda could see herself and Krishna inside Krishna's mouth. Therefore, not only the whole universe was situated inside Krishna's mouth, but Krishna himself was situated inside his own mouth. That's definitely a feat that our material brains have a hard time conceiving. Apart from Krishna, even mundane yogis can bend space to a certain extent. These are ordinary mortals, like you and me, who attain supernatural powers due to their practice of Astanga Yoga or by other means. A yogi can stretch his hand and grab something that is thousands of miles away by bending space around him. His hand actually stays in the same place, the space around it that bends, shortening the distance and allowing the yogi to grab the object he desires. Similarly, by bending the space around his body, a yogi can become very big or very small. Again, he doesn't need to change the structure of his body, it's the space around him that bends. Such mystical feats are called Astasiddhis, the 8 mystic powers, and become available when an advanced yogi is capable of connecting with the divine energy, becoming thus a conductor for it. Just like a bar of iron becomes red hot due to contact with fire and can thus burn just like fire, or a piece of wire becomes electrified due to a connection with the power grid, a yogi becomes surcharged with mystical potency when he is able to successfully connect with the source of such potency. These are examples that can be observed in this material world. If we go to the spiritual world, things become even more amazing. In the spiritual world, space as a limiting factor doesn't exist at all. All the inhabitants can freely go from one place to the other simply by their meditation. Everything is just one remembrance away. Similarly, in the spiritual sky there is no matter that needs to be manipulated, and consequently no physical laws. Anything can be created simply through one's meditation, out of one's own consciousness. The gopis doesn't have to spend hours cooking in front of the fire, manipulating different substances to make a preparation for Krishna. Whatever they want to cook is created simply by their meditation. We can understand that just as matter, both time and space are a phenomenon that affects only the inhabitants of this material universe. Although time and space can be defined as real in the sense that someone created and someone is experiencing it, both are actually ephemeral, not much more real than a game running on a computer. We are not products of this material world, we are actually spiritual beings entrapped in a material experience. Our existence here in this material plane had a beginning, when at some point of eternity we decided to come here. Becoming attached to material things, we have been forcing ourselves to remain here ever since. Self-realized souls are capable of seeing things in the proper perspective, and thus they become indifferent to this phenomenal world. All the experiences that are there to experiment in this material world are already created and happen cyclically. It's just like a computer game, where all the events in the game are individually created by the developer and displayed in a certain order to the player, creating an illusion of continuity. The player can't change the order or speed of the events, but the developer has complete power. Similarly, Krishna is not under the control of space, time, or any physical law, just the opposite, he is the one who calls the shots. Just like the demigods see the universe differently from us, Krishna has a much higher perception of reality than even the demigods, just like he displayed when he evoked all the Brahmas of different universes in the presence of the Brahma of our universe. As the creator and controller of the whole material creation, Krishna has complete control over it, just like a programmer has complete control over his own software. As long as we are in this material world, we are not only under the influence of time, but also constricted in other ways. For example, our planet is round, so we can't leave it easily. If one tries to escape the planet by walking, he will just end up going back to the same place. Even when we send probes or astronauts to other planets of the universe, we can't find anything interesting there because we don't have access to the higher dimensional realms. We may go to the moon or to Mars, but we will find only rocks, radiation, extremes of temperature and other inhospitable conditions. In other words, even if we leave our planet, still we can't leave our prison. Ultimately, not only we are imprisoned by these different forces, but our knowledge of reality is very limited. So, accepting the idea that both time and space are relative and thus illusory, what is real? Actually, the only thing that is real is consciousness. The reality is simply a manifestation of consciousness. By changing our consciousness, we can literally change our reality. One with the appropriate consciousness can travel all around the universe, like Narada Muni. Having a spiritual body, he is not affected by material conditions or even by distance, and thus he is able to freely move around the universe according to his will. From this, we can see that although expressed in simple language, the Vedic literature brings us ideas that go much further than the most far-out science fiction. The universe is much bigger and more mysterious than we can imagine, and the key to unlock its mysteries is the purification and expansion of our own consciousness.